It's the era of the Astros. Baseball's omnipresent contenders have staked their claim to a second World Series title in a moment that was 5 years in the making. And while the stain on Houston's first championship might never fade, absolutely no one can raise a finger at this one. Altuve and the boys left everything on the field this time, and it's exactly what we're talking about in today's video. First up, let's look at how the game went. You can say a lot about this game, but you definitely can't say it was an easy one, and that goes for both teams. But if we had to sum the game up in a few short words, we'd say Yordan Alvarez did what he's done all season, with more than little help from rookie Jeremy Pena. He drilled in a game-altering home run, which eventually led his team to victory. Down 1 run in the 6th inning, the Astros came back to 3-1, and Houston fans knew their fate was sealed when Cuban left fielder Yordan Alvarez clubbed his 3rd game-changing home run of the season. But if you ask us, this thing was a team effort, and giving Alvarez or Pena all the credit doesn't really seem fair. This is why. Now we're getting a little more detail. Houston took the lead early on in the game after Pena's run-scoring single against Noah Syndergaard after only 4 pitches. Then Philadelphia's Kyle Schwarber hit a leadoff home run, which reminded a lot of fans of the 5-run edge Verlander blew in Houston's opening 6-5 10-inning defeat. Throughout the game, Pena managed to score 3 hits, including an RBI single in the 1st inning and a single in the 8th that paved the way for Yordan Alvarez's run-scoring ground out. Pena then went on to stop the Phillies dead in their tracks with a leaping catch at shortstop and reclaimed the lead for his team with his 4th postseason home run in the 4th. He is the first shortstop in the Fall Classic to ever reach base safely as a rookie, and also apparently Philly's biggest nightmare. Then, in the 8th inning, after Gene Segura singled with 1 out and scored off Rafael Montero, Ryan Presley barely escaped a 1st and 3rd jam by striking out Brandon Marsh and Schwarber on a fastball that reached nearly 100 miles per hour and was nabbed by Mancini over first base. The backup first baseman had pinch hit in the top half. Yuli Gurriel got into a collision during a rundown, and Mancini was handed a foul to reach back with his left foot to touch the bag. Presley finished with a 5-out save. Then for the 2nd out of the 9th inning, McCormick made a leaping backhand catch against the chain-link fence in right center on Real Muto. After this, Nick Castellanos grounded out to cap off a 3-hour 57-minute thriller and give the Astros their 2nd World Series title. Moving on, let's talk about how the Astros made it back to the top. For 6 straight seasons, the Astros have made it to the ALCS, and for 6 straight seasons, including 4 World Series appearances, they've left empty-handed. They've lost twice to NL East rivals since that controversial 2017 victory. It was the Atlanta Braves last year and the Washington Nationals in 2019, and we honestly thought we might never see them at the top again, but the Astros proved us wrong. At its core, most of the franchise's main characters have stayed the same, with Jose Altuve leading the pack, Alex Bregman and Yuli Gurriel holding base, and Justin Verlander on the pitch. But at the same time, a great many of the faces have also changed, and might have just been what the doctor ordered because it worked. The Astros' second wave slammed into the Phillies. Valdez, who emerged from Houston's star-making player development program in 2018, started both of the Astros' World Series triumphs, including the clinching Game 6 this year. Pena, a rookie who took over for Carlos Correa this season, led the lineup and became the first rookie to be named World Series MVP. Alvarez, the world-beating slugger, delivered a knockout blow that the Phillies rightly feared but couldn't have avoided. Then there's manager Dusty Baker and GM James Click at the top, who've done a lot to rebuild the team after AJ Hinch and Jeff Luhnow were ousted after a sign-stealing scandal. Baker in particular deserves a lot of credit for holding together and representing a franchise that has more haters than it has fans. The journey must have been difficult, but as is Baker's way, you'd never know it. Following up, here's why we think the Astros deserved this win after 2017's Asterisk. A postseason that began as a celebration of underdogs ended with an assertive statement from a colossal powerhouse. The Astros have managed to stay surprisingly consistent in a sport that's anything but it. They have won 100 games or more in 4 of the last 5 seasons, with 541 regular season wins, trailing only the Los Angeles Dodgers since the beginning of 2017. But it was in October 2022 that they truly set themselves apart. Over the same time period, they won 53 of their 86 playoff games, amounting to a 100-win pace. They didn't even lose a 2022 postseason game until Game 1 of the World Series, and that alone makes them worthy champs if you ask us. Sure, their past scandals, and booze if we're being totally real here, aren't going anywhere, but the thing is, neither are the Astros. Next up, Dusty Baker talks about his first World Series win. After hitting 5 home runs in Game 3, the Phillies were only able to score 3 runs in the final 3 games of the series. Their silent bats reflected the Astros' excellent pitching and the astute management by manager Dusty Baker, whose 25-year managerial career has been devoid of a World Series championship until Saturday. The veteran manager got super emotional while talking about the win that eluded him for over 2 decades. Baker claimed that he knew when the time was right he could get this done. He also showed a lot of optimism optimism for the team's future and claimed that he hopes this win shows young fans that perseverance can work out for you in the long run. Coming up, we do have to wonder why the Phillies came up short. The Phillies ran out of steam after a magical month, losing in 6 postseason games. The team somehow limped into October, but eventually blew up at the playoffs, succumbing to the chaos that is their inner management. Sure, they handed 2 early losses to an Astros team that hadn't lost a game in the postseason, but that was it. Their power supply sputtered after Game 3. Schwarber and Bryce Harper were pretty much alone in that lineup with no support in sight. And just like that, a bullpen that had formed and held its own finally gave way. The innings became more difficult, and they simply couldn't muster up the answers any longer. But with Rob Thompson now at the helm and Dave Dombrowski in charge of the front office, the Phillies might bounce back next season. Not to mention, what's next for the Astros? While the Phillies might have a lot of rebuilding to do, it looks like Houston's dark and defiant chapter has finally come to a close. And as we mentioned earlier, a post-scandal championship might not be enough to silence the boos or clear the stain of 2017's ethical lapse. It will force the world of baseball to take a step back at the Astros for what they truly are, a dynasty that's finally having a renaissance. As a team that rose to prominence with a core of highly drafted hitters, the Astros are now equally known for their pitching, and none of this would have been possible without the team's new top brass. Their infrastructure is among the best in the game, but change may be on the way again. If Houston wants to make its story a trilogy, it may need a third cast of characters in high-ranking leadership roles. Baker and Click are both free agents for the 2023 season. Baker celebrated his hard-earned victory after the game, but hinted that he won't be riding off into the sunset, as some have predicted. As for Click, we have no reason to believe he'll be going anywhere after this huge win either. Finally, an Astros superfan just bagged over $100 million because of his team. As huge as the Astros victory was, there's someone who won even bigger on finals night. Astros superfan Jim Mattress Mac McIngvale won $117 million in winning bets after Houston took home the cup. According to reports, this is the largest payout in sports betting history. McIngvale apparently bet $15.6 million across multiple sports books on an Astros victory. Among the 71-year-old's wagers was a $4.7 million wager with Caesars Sportsbook at 10-to-1 odds in May. It paid him $47 million, making it the largest single payout in sports history. In addition to his multi-million-dollar wager with Caesars, McIngvale wagered $3.1 million with BetMGM, $3.1 million with Barstool Sports, and $1.6 million with each of the other 2 organizations. That's a wrap for this video. What do you think of the Astros World Series win? Let us know in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. See you in the next one.